Hola a todos, bienvenido a nuestro podcast, which means hello everyone, welcome to our podcast in Spanish.
Sí.
Sí. Yeah, you know what? It would have been even better if we had done it in like Portuguese or something like that and just completely chosen the wrong language. But no, hello everyone and welcome to episode 44. This is, wow.
LH44.
LH44, where we will be not really talking that much about him, but welcome. A couple of things before we...
No, we can talk about him.
Yeah, we can a little bit, but I think the focus will be on our main Mexican man.
Well, speaking of Mexico, he has released a tequila, or a non-alcoholic tequila.
Yeah, which that's just water. It's fire water.
What's it made out of? Agave or something?
I don't understand this. I'll be honest with you. I don't fully get it. Like,
I don't know.
What?
But yeah, he's released a non-alcoholic spirit. Can it be a tequila?
I mean, do what you want, but I just found it a little bit odd.
It is available to order, so I don't know if it gets shipped to Denmark, but you can order it.
Probably. I'd imagine that I could probably get it.
Yeah. I did have a look. I was like, should I order it? And I was like...
How much is it?
I think it's like £34.
Gee, no, I'm kidding. That's probably not... Slightly more expensive. Is it vegan? Because I know he's a big vegan. As opposed to a medium vegan, but you get my point.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's...
It must be...
because he can't drink it then if it's not.
Technically, no. So, yes, it should be vegan.
So, yeah.
All right, then. Well, yeah, we will be talking about Lewis Hamilton a little bit then. But a couple of things before we do jump in properly then. Was thank you to everyone who followed us on Instagram, because we have reached 1,000 followers on Instagram, which is a bit of a milestone for us, right?
It is.
It's a pretty big milestone for a small podcast.
Well, we're at 1,008 now, so we got 8 followers today.
Yeah, not too bad at all. Well, we went to bed last night, and I was like, "Oh, wouldn't it be brilliant if we woke up to 1,000?" And I woke up and checked my phone, and it was 999, and I'm like, "You are." So unlucky. I should have stepped in for an extra 10 minutes. And then I checked it literally 10 minutes later, and it was 1,000. So thank you to everyone who is currently following us there.
Seriously, thank you. It means a lot.
It really does mean a lot. I mean, like, we have I think 100 and something followers on TikTok as well. But obviously, the more followers we have, the more people we can, shell this podcast out to. Now, you know what I mean. We can get more listeners and build a community. So it really does mean a lot to the both of us. So thank you, everyone who supports us in any way, shape, or form. And if you're looking for other ways to support us, you can, like I said, follow us on TikTok or Instagram or wherever. We also have YouTube. But what's super important is if you leave this podcast a rating as well. I know that it's all like, oh, it helps us in the ratings and stuff like that, but it actually does. Like, it genuinely really helps us in the ratings. So please go ahead and do so. But above all else, not to get too soppy, but thank you for your support. No, it really does mean a lot.
We love you all.
I love you all. Thank you. So, Mexican GP, something I was going to say a little bit more fun, but this podcast is very fun. How dare I? I do apologise. Mexican GP, which is obviously this weekend. It is, I believe, it is the highest altitude Grand Prix of the season. Isn't that correct?
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting.
I'm 99% sure it is anyway. Okay. I know it's definitely not Monaco, because that is literally just next to the sea. But everything else,
I just love the stadium section.
Stadium section is iconic. Epic. It really is iconic. I think if you were to ask both of us, if you were to chop up different Formula One tracks and you were to put different parts of Formula One tracks into one, stadium section would be on both of our tracks. We should do that. Winter break. We should chop up and design our favourite Formula One
parts from a track.
Favourite parts of tracks into a track and try and maybe draw it or something like that as well. Because I would really like the start of a Formula One track to be beginning of Malaysia, the first 2 or 3 corners of Malaysia.
Okay.
Because they're really windy. It's a bit like China, but it opens up for more overtaking and stuff like that. It's just cool. And then, anyway. But we should definitely do that over the winter break.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. But yeah, that stadium section is so unique, so epic. And then when you have the top 3 drivers up there, it just kind of feel like a race car driver, I can imagine.
Yeah, I'd imagine.
Do you know what I mean? Just having like thousands of people just screaming there. And
There's no other equivalent, really, is there?
Monza would probably be the closest.
Yeah,
in
Monza.
terms of
Yeah,
atmosphere.
podium at Monza.
Would be the same. And just try to think what else. Because obviously I know, they let people out onto the track, which really makes the podiums a lot more atmospheric. But yeah, there's just something special about that stadium section and just driving
absolutely.
through it. But yeah, no, Mexico always brings up good races. Lots of fights on the track, and I'm just thinking back to like Vettel, Verstappen, Ricciardo.
Yeah,
a few years ago, Alonso and Hamilton, and I'm really looking forward to the race. I think it's going to be good.
Do you know who the most successful driver is?
Is it Hamilton?
Track? No, it's actually Max.
Is it Max?
Mm-hmm. Most successful, yeah.
So, guess we'll add another one on Sunday.
Let's be honest, more than likely, yeah. Unless for some reason, his bodyguards aren't as good as we want them to be, which I guess leads us into this story.
Just before we go into that, when they were shouting Checo, I bet he's like, I'm going to specifically win in Mexico.
Oh, I reckon. Just for those chances, like I'm going to get fastest lap. I'm going to lead the entire race. Do you remember his attitude in Belgium where he just completely walked over everyone last season, not this season, where like it was just the performance of his life. He was like 33 seconds ahead of Charles and came from like 10th or something like that. It was ridiculous. That's the Max Verstappen I think we're going to get this weekend.
Yeah, it's just if I was Max, I'd be like, you know what, fuck you in particular.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but it's not a good situation at the moment, is it?
No, it's not. Which is, I think, a combination of social media and, would you say even Drive to Survive? Maybe because sometimes they paint the drivers in not an authentic way. If that makes sense. They try and not instigate. They try and manufacture drama. The whole Carlos Sainz and Lando Norris rivalry when everyone outside of Drive to Survive knew like these guys are like besties.
Yeah, this is ridiculous. They play golf together.
And like the fake radio messages and. Yeah, I guess since you posted about it, do you want to start off talking about it?
Yeah, so one of the first things that came out is that Max Verstappen will have bodyguards this weekend, and he didn't ask for them, but the team have specifically arranged it because I'm not entirely sure, but I believe there's been one or two even death threats thrown at Max, including just even if there weren't that. There's a lot of hate directed towards him and towards Helmut Marko, especially after his comments, a few months ago about Sergio. And so I believe Helmut will also probably have some sort of bodyguards as well. I'd imagine he's very old as well. Like he's not exactly going to be able to fight back. But yeah, so they'll have bodyguards, which is not the norm. I know Lewis usually has a bodyguard. But not all the time. I think it depends. But the last time we actually had like a story like this of bodyguards at a track was again involving Sergio Perez when Ocon was his teammate for Racing Point, and Ocon had to have bodyguards as well because it was a similar situation. And Ocon then went ahead to out-qualify and beat him in the race.
I believe Leclerc. I think it was just purely an American thing. I just remember I think the drivers did have bodyguards in America, just not maybe. For any particular reason. Just I think the race organizers like, look, we do just want to have
I wasn't
security personnel there.
That.
I just remember there was someone who was like watching Leclerc,
sure,
a little bit, but. Yeah, it's just fucked up, man. Like at the end of the day, it's just like you have your passions, you support your drivers, but it's just a sport at the end of the day, right? It's just it is just cars going around in a circle. It's there was this ice hockey player. I'll send you the YouTube video.
Oh god,
I'll very poorly mimic because he's like, "Why you have to be mad? It's only game, why you have to be mad?"
Yeah, I know the clip.
And we get disappointed and we get angry if things don't go our driver's way. But like, it wouldn't even cross my mind to send a death threat, an actual death threat.
Yeah,
right?
It's insane, right?
To a driver because they're winning all the time, and maybe they've had a few coming together. Because I know, obviously, they're still hung up on the whole Brazil thing from last year.
But yeah, I think there's still a little bit of that in the air.
Yeah. But to send actual death threats is
I think, please don't quote me on that. I think I saw it somewhere that death threats had been sent.
Whatever it is, Red Bull have deemed it worthy that Max needs security. Right?
Yeah.
They want to err on the side of caution.
Yeah.
So they've seen or heard or just think, you know what, what's been happening, we want to play it safe. I think.
I don't blame them.
If you think, I mean, you've been at the paddock, right? You've seen how people can get really close to the drivers.
Oh yeah, so in complete honesty, if I had wanted to, I could have attacked a driver. If I'd have made it my mission to enter the paddock, I could have done it quite easily. In complete honesty, when I went through, into the actual into the track, went with a ticket, not into the paddock. You're searched, but not really searched. They mostly just make sure you haven't got drones or just stop oil canisters or whatever. I could have had anything. And when I got into the paddock, there was no security check, no nothing. So, I mean, even just with my fists, I could have, punched Valtteri Bottas if I really wanted to. There was no security on any of the... And this is in no way advice on how to sneak in, but there was no security on any of the doors or anything like that. I could have literally just walked in. I very nearly did walk into the McLaren hospitality, but that was because I was taking photos of the helmets that they had on display. So I was just really close to the door, but I didn't want to be a dick, so I didn't go in. I was overly polite. I think it's a British thing. I was overly polite. I just didn't want to step on anyone's toes. So yeah. But so it's completely understandable as to why they would have this, because also I don't think that the FIA knows exactly. They don't do background checks on everyone who's going to be at the track, because that would be almost impossible. So anyone could be in the paddock, anyone at all. They have VIPs. They have so it's almost a surprise that something hasn't happened already. Somebody been punched or something being stolen in the paddock or something like that. So it is a little bit of a concern. So I'm just giving you that context from a first-hand experience that I could quite easily have walked into, again, the McLaren thing and grabbed one of the helmets that were just on display and left, and probably nobody would have noticed. So I'm just saying, I fully understand why they would need or feel as though they need to provide bodyguards. So I think it's the complete right decision, and I'm surprised that there isn't, because I don't remember it. I don't remember there being more of a security presence. Maybe there is at other tracks and stuff like that, but even the paddock gates, when you swipe in, it's just like a turnstile. If you took a run at that, you could easily run over or underneath it, in all honesty. So this is what I'm saying. I can understand why there would be a need for security, because if you're, again, I'm going to take an example. If you're an angry Mexican fan who wants to punch Max Verstappen in the face, fine. I reckon you could probably do it if you tried hard enough. Well, not fine, but you get what I mean. But I reckon if you tried hard enough, you could probably get pretty close. So, I genuinely really do appreciate that Red Bull have done this, and I think that if any team, or even the driver and the driver's teams, the teams around the driver, not the team's team, want to do that at any race, I fully support it. I don't see a problem with it whatsoever. A bit expensive, I guess, but
and it only takes one incident where
exactly.
Paddock is closed off to no one that's if you're not part of a racing team, you're not allowed back there.
Yeah, and every single person has to be verified and blah 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 blah. So, and they have to limit people who come in. Maybe they have better security gates, even at a football game. The turnstiles that you go through to a football game, those are more secure than the gates that they have.
Yeah, the full body ones.
Yeah, the full body ones. Those are more secure than the ones they have in the paddock, which is insane, to be completely honest.
Slightly off topic now that we're talking about paddocks.
Yes,
I was speaking to someone today who went to Silverstone.
Okay.
I'm not going to give away too many details. I don't think anyone listening will know. But him and a friend were at the Mercedes garage and were right next to Lewis's car, and they did this all like legally, legit, it's fine, and were given, hey, do you want to hold Lewis's steering wheel? They're like, oh yeah, it's cool, and they're doing it. And then one of the engineers got really mad. He's like, can I have that back, please? Because it was his race steering wheel in the sense that all the settings were set up for him to go and race. So if they twisted a knob or pressed a button, like who knows what setting they would have changed.
Yeah.
And it also had the race strategy on the wheel. So they were like, what the fuck? Like, how do we know that you're not part of another team? And you can just go and say, hey, this is Mercedes strategy. So, it can be a little bit lax in terms of security. Obviously, they didn't do anything. Right?
No, of course not. No.
And it was all like it's not like they went in and took the wheel off the car.
It's just a mistake.
They were allowed to be there. They were handed the wheel
by a different engineer.
Someone, not an engineer, but someone quite important in the team. And it had his race strategy and sayings on there.
Jesus.
So, hopefully the whole weekend goes off without an incident and we just get to watch an amazing race.
Yeah, let's hope so. I think it could be pretty interesting for a couple of different teams, don't you think? Because of the altitude, the air is 20% thinner, which means that the cars are obviously more slippery, but they have to compensate for the fact that the air is thinner by potentially applying more downforce, depending on the setup that they want to go for and stuff like that. So it's actually a little bit of a wild card, to be completely honest. However, as far as I can, or as far as I know, Red Bull obviously have best pace, and then it's Mercedes, then closely followed by McLaren, Ferrari, and then Alpine, and then I think like the rest of the teams, I can't remember, but Williams were propping up the bottom, which seems a bit odd because half of the track is this one straight, and Williams have really good straight line speed. So I don't really know, but like I said, this is sim data. But so it looks like Mercedes will be challenging for a legal podium this time. But we'll have to wait and see. It is a little bit of a wild card for sure. But I know that Lewis quite likes this track. And if you're Sergio Perez, you kind of have to perform this weekend. There must be so much pressure or, like expectation for him this weekend. So, I mean, he's got to perform, surely. I think anything other than a podium for him this weekend is embarrassing in the fastest car on the grid. And admittedly, not so dominant anymore, to be completely honest. But still,
maybe not in qualifying, but in race trim it is.
This is what I mean. So I think that more than likely they're still the fastest car. So like I said, I think that anything less than P3 for Sergio is embarrassing, to be completely honest. Don't you think?
What are your predictions? I guess that leads nicely onto the predictions. Then.
Sure.
What do you think is going to be the top three?
If
that's what you're thinking for Sergio.
I'm going Max, Lewis, and I'm not sure. I'm not sure on P3 because I actually think Sergio will finish outside of the top three. Because Mercedes will have more pace. I know it's his home track, but I just have a funny feeling that he will just fumble the bag. He's done it so many times now that I don't have that much confidence in him. But so I think it's a toss-up between Charles and Lando. I'm going to go with Charles because the Ferrari has a lot better straight line speed. That McLaren is quite draggy. So yeah, I'll go Max, Lewis, Charles.
Nice. I'm going to go Max, Sergio, Carlos.
Okay. All right. So you think Sergio's going to be P2?
Yeah, I think Sergio's going to be P2. I think if there's any race where he wants to bounce back, if he wants to have a good performance, if he doesn't have a good performance for the rest of the season, he would want it to be in Mexico. And I'm just going to go Carlos just because of his performance at Monza, which is a kind of somewhat
similar-ish track. Yeah.
So, and I expect to be completely wrong apart from the Max one on Monday.
Yeah, I mean, Max is a free hit, but the other two, yeah. So, but yeah, I'm going Hamilton. I think that floor is a lot bigger of an upgrade than people seem to expect.
Cool, but yeah, but it's always a good race, Mexico.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got a couple more questions for you. Obviously, Yuki scored points last week, but Daniel didn't. Mm-hmm. So now that we've had a week of...
Daniel had damage to his car. You do know that, right?
He did have a little bit of damage, yes. But now that Daniel's back, he's had a race to get back into the swing of things.
Yep.
Do you see Daniel scoring points this weekend?
I do see him scoring points, but I don't see him beating Yuki.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't think so. That's an interesting one.
Yeah.
And obviously, we talked about it a little bit before, but Logan Sargent obviously has his first point. I did say points because, you know. But he has his first point in Formula One, first points, whatever. But do you think that...
Well, hold on. No. Now that you're talking about it, do you want to talk about what you posted on the story about Sergio cutting that corner?
Yes, I would like to. So if you're not following us on Instagram, which you should be, to be completely honest, then you may have seen that I posted this story, essentially, that Sergio Perez is on board at turn 6. Every single lap at turn 6 shows that he cut the corner 26 times. 26 times he cut that corner, meaning all 4 wheels off the track, right? Which would mean that he would have 75 seconds worth of time penalties. So he would be then all the way down to 11th, and Logan would have 9th.
So it would have been points.
So do you want to... So it would have been points, like bigger points for Logan. I don't know who would have been promoted to P10 then. Would that have been Daniel?
Albon.
No, Albon was P10 already, so he's now P9, and Logan is P10. But so if Sergio gets booted all the way down to P11, who was P11 in the race anyway? Because they get...
Yuki... So we had Yuki, Alex, and Logan.
Yeah, Yuki was...
Yuki was 10, and he went up 2, and then Alex went up 2.
Hold on a minute. I'm going to have to...
Logan went up. So, yes, it was whoever was behind Logan.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. Yeah.
Lance was ahead. Fernando retired.
Oh, Hulkenberg.
Oh, Hulkenberg.
So Perez would be booted down from 4th all the way to 11th, and then Hulkenberg would take 10th position.
Oh, man. Haas would like those points.
Yeah, they would.
Points, sorry.
I would like to circle back to Haas as well, because we can talk about that. There's actually a rumour about Haas at the moment, or about Nico. But I don't think that anything will come of Sergio cutting the corner, to be completely honest.
I mean, it's a bit late now.
It's too late, I think. But
interesting to know how they didn't pick that up.
Yeah, but I don't know how they didn't pick that up, but none of the other teams picked it up as well. Because if, let's say, for example, Charles had been disqualified and Lewis hadn't, right? Again, let's just pick on Charles because we can. But so let's say if he got disqualified, only Alex would have got points. But obviously, if Williams had been watching onboards, they should have flagged that Sergio had been off so many times and should have given him a time penalty and blah, 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 blah. So, I don't know. I don't know how long the right of review is.
Yeah, there is a bit of time for the right of review.
I believe...
It must have been expired.
I believe it's like 24 hours. But I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. Should we Google that? I'll let you Google that. And we'll circle back round to this topic. But while you do that, I'm going to very quickly chat about Nico Hulkenberg. Because apparently Audi would like to have him for 2025.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So apparently Audi want him for 2025. Meaning, especially as a German driver, it does make sense, let's be honest. For a German manufacturer to have a German driver, let's be honest, Nico is not a terrible driver whatsoever. So it would be good to have his experience and his expertise to help launch Audi as a brand, for sure. And so
he's a solid driver as well.
Exactly, yeah, he's solid. Yeah. He's very good quality performances, brilliant. But if he were to leave, obviously that would free up one of the Haas seats. That would open the door for somebody and to come full circle. that would open the door for somebody who this weekend is testing or taking part of the free practice session for Haas this weekend, and that is Ollie Behrman.
Oh.
Because if you think about it, if you're Ollie Behrman, you're going into the 2024 season in F2. This is your second season. He did very well in F2 so far. Obviously, there's the last race in Abu Dhabi. But he has that one race left, and he would have completed his first season. And I believe he did pretty well. I can't remember what position it is. I think it's like fourth or something. And he's one of the youngest. I think he's the youngest race winner in F2 history or something like that. So, but if he were to stay in F2 for a year, that would be up until the end of 24. 2025, Nico Hülkenberg goes to Audi, opens up the seat for Behrman immediately. And trust me, Ollie Behrman is a bit special.
Who do you think would partner Hülkenberg if he did go there?
I don't know.
And do you think they'll keep K-Mag at Haas?
I don't know. So that's the other thing as well, is that Kevin Magnussen he's not exactly young. He's 31. So, like, he's getting to the end of his career.
You want that older, experienced person if you're bringing in a rookie.
That's the thing. But by that point, if you're potentially kicking... I'll be honest with you. If you're Audi and you've got Zhou Guanyu and you've got Valtteri Bottas, right, you're going to kick out Zhou. But Valtteri's 34. He's going to be 35 by the time that Alpha then take over. So, I don't know. I feel like maybe Haas could even have Valtteri. Who knows? That's the thing. Like, who would you rather have in a team? Kevin Magnussen or Valtteri Bottas?
Bottas.
Exactly. So this is my thing. Like, I think that although we have the contracts and stuff wrapped up for next year, the year after is going to be particularly interesting because we have quite a few exciting rookies coming up. We have Frederick Vesti, we have Jack Doohan, we have Oliver Behrman. Who's the other one as well? Oh God, hold on. F2. There's one whose name I'm forgetting. I'm really sorry to whoever it is, but I'm just waiting for it to load. Theo Pourchaire. That's who I couldn't remember. But like these are all pretty exciting. Oh, Oliver Behrman is sixth in the championship, by the way. But so this is what I'm talking about. Like we have like 4 or 5 very exciting drivers coming through, but there are only 20 seats. So it's going to get difficult for sure. Which is why FIA, Liberty Media, we need 12 fucking teams. Opens up 4 more seats.
The end of next season, where loads of driver contracts are up, is going to be the best silly season we've ever had. End
of next season is going to be wild. Because not only are the drivers trying to keep their options open for the regulation and engine changes coming up in 25, 26, but they're also the teams are also trying to keep their options open as well.
Yeah, no, that's true. Because they want to say, hey, if someone's contract's expiring or expired, we would like to have dibs on said driver. So, yeah, it's going to be a real buyers and sellers market.
There is also another rumor going around that Christian, after Japan, pulled Lando aside and offered to buy him out of his McLaren contract.
Yeah, I've heard rumours about this.
And I've heard that from a reputable source that is true.
I read about that today.
And
I wouldn't do it.
And Lando ultimately turned it down.
Yeah,
it was Lando's decision, but Red Bull were ready to pull the trigger, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, from a Red Bull and marketing perspective, Lando is a great driver to have. But if I'm Lando and going up against Max now at Red Bull, I don't think it's worth it.
No, especially because McLaren are, again, the commentators keep saying it, but McLaren are resurgent this year. This is arguably the best McLaren year of the entire turbo hybrid era. Think about it. Name a better season, other than the win that they had in Monza, obviously, a couple of years ago with Daniel, but I mean, outside of that, this is the best year McLaren have had in the turbo hybrid era.
Yeah, the Alonso years were very painful.
Yes. I wasn't around for those, so I'm very glad I wasn't. But I think that just goes to show that how much confidence that Lando actually has in McLaren. And it seems like a recurring thing that people keep on trying to nab Lando. But if I'm Christian, Christian seems to be a little bit obsessed with Lando, if I'm completely honest. And I kind of don't blame him because Lando is fantastic. But I mean, how long will these offers keep coming for Lando until Christian turns around and goes, you know what? Actually, I've spoken to Ginger Spice, and she actually thinks Charles is going to be a better position for Red Bull, so we're going to stop speaking to Lando now, and then the door closes on Lando. I don't know. I'm just asking that question.
If you're good enough, you'll always have the opportunities, and maybe the door might close at Red Bull, but it will probably open up at a Ferrari or a Mercedes or whatever if there's another top team. So.
I mean, imagine if Lewis retires and then Mercedes bring in Lando and they have Lando and George as their driver pairing. That's a ridiculous driver pairing. When you put that on paper, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. So if I'm Lando, I'm not too worried as long as I continue to perform. It's when you stop performing, then a la Sergio, that's when things get a bit difficult if you're trying to look to move to another team.
Very, very true.
Would you like to... So this is from a Formula One article. Do you want to guess how long the right of review is?
I want to say like 24 hours. It's like 1, isn't it? It's going to be like 1.
Higher.
Oh, it's longer than 24 hours?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So are we still in the right of review? That'll give me a clue.
Yes.
Ooh, okay. I'm going to say... so it's going to be something really odd, like 21 days.
14 days.
14 days. Okay, so if I'm... All right, this is a direct message to James Vals. James, I'm looking directly in the camera, right at you, James. Hello, hi. I applied for a job at Williams a few months ago. I got a first round interview and I never heard anything back. So if you could follow that up, that would be much appreciated. But no, that's a genuine story, by the way. But please use your little right of review and get Logan points in Formula One, please.
And Alex.
And Alex, even more points.
And Nico.
And get Nico a point. Although
get Gunter on board as well.
Gunter. Hi, Gunter. I've never applied for a job at your Formula One team, but if you have one, I'd be more than happy to apply for it. Hi. Also, right review. Gunter, please. Like, what are these guys playing at? Like, surely... Like, let's be honest, these drivers and social media managers for Formula One teams and stuff like that, they're clued in on social media. Somebody, somewhere will have picked it up. Let's see. Because to be fair to Sergio, and I'll play devil's advocate, if it was once or twice, or maybe even 3 times, I don't think so. But the fact that he did it reported 26 times...
26 times
somebody
is a bit much.
Has to pull that out. Someone, please, anyone. I don't care who they are. Please.
That is a bit much.
Do you know what I should do? I should message my friend who works for Haas. I should message him and say, by the way, I don't know how you could do it, but please try and get this right of reviewed. I'll message it. I'll actually message him today. I'll message him once we finish recording, and I'll report back.
And let us know how it goes.
I'll report back because it's a point for Nico Hülkenberg. So,
Hülkenberg.
Like this is what I'm saying. Like, there's some. Honestly, if I message him as well, I'll do my research and I'll figure out like where, like what laps they would have been, so that he can report it to whoever. I'll do my homework.
Yeah.
To double check that it was 26 times, etc., etc. So, but I'm sure that F1 Twitter would have done that already. But I mean, well, I'll check it because that's a point for Haas, and then I would have contributed to Haas's points haul. Imagine that.
If that doesn't get you a job at Haas, I don't know what will.
Chief. I'm trying to think of like a really odd title. Like chief, like rule breaking verification.
No. Chief snitch.
Chief snitch. I'll take that. Don't even care, honestly.
Chief snitch.
Snitches get jobs.
Snitches get stitches. Sergio, you're going to need bodyguards because those Mexican fans are going to come for you.
No. Mexico love me. I introduced the podcast in Spanish. In awful broken Spanish.
God.
Spanish is not my strong suit at all. Neither is English, to be completely honest. But
So, yeah. Should we wrap it up?
Yeah,
we've been talking for quite a while. Actually,
let's do that. Yeah, yeah. For the record, if there was a Danish Grand Prix, I could introduce the podcast in Danish, but there isn't because Denmark's bloody tiny.
You can still do it.
I'll do it next week.
Yeah.
For Mexico.
Still do it.
For Mexico.
Or if we do it in the winter break, you can just imagine there was a Danish Grand Prix.
Yes. That could be an episode. We design the Danish Grand Prix.
Like we said earlier, we'll steal stuff from the other tracks.
Honestly, we'll do
Danish
that.
Grand Prix.
And then we'll plonk it in the middle of Jylland. If you're Danish, you'll understand where that is. We'll plonk it in the middle of Jylland and we'll just build the track. We'll demolish Colling because nobody likes Colling. And we'll just chuck a Formula 1 track there. Done.
And then if you don't call it the Danish Grand Prix, but if you do like a D and then an apostrophe, so it's like the Danish Grand Prix, and then like my name is technically the name of a Grand Prix.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. Nice.
So let's do that.
Let's write that down.
Everyone's a winner, baby. That's for sure. Cool.
Yeah, let's wrap up there then, I guess.
Cool.
There's not that much else to talk about.
No. It's just a normal race weekend. Thank God for that. Friday practice, Saturday quali, Sunday race.
Oh God, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, no.
The race is at 7:30 for you, 6:30 for me.
Yeah.
And whatever time it is in your time zone. So I think those on the East Coast and obviously Mexico, Brazil will be able to watch it at a normal time.
Yes.
And then those probably towards the Middle East, Asia, Pacific, Japan, Australia would be unfortunately one of those races where it's at stupid o'clock for you guys.
But obviously we do have one more sprint race left this season in Brazil.
True that.
Just as a reminder that we have to go through that hell again. Well, not hell, but snooze fest.
Yeah. But you never know. It'll be nice to see some like proper action in a sprint race if like people crash and stuff. Actually, no, I don't think that would be
Think
good.
about what you just said.
Yeah. Well, I didn't mean like crash, but it'd be like just some first lap incidents or something. Something that brings out a safety car. Let's just say that. Something that brings out a safety car.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, thank you very much for listening. Do follow us on the socials. We've crossed the 4-figure barrier, which is nice.
We have. Woo.
Yeah. Expect plenty of memes post the
way more
Mexico Grand Prix.
Way more.
Yeah, Gunther or James Val, if you're listening, we've given you all the evidence.
Do you know what, I should just send them a link of this podcast just on LinkedIn.
And the story, our Instagram profile.
Yeah, the Instagram's real. Yeah, do you know what we should do? We should do like an appeal, like an Instagram video type thing, and just be like, hello, like a public message type thing.
Oh, like one of those things where like, there's no clean water.
Yeah, like a water aid type thing. It's just like...
This is an appeal to those. Just by giving £2 a month.
For just one appeal, you, Gunther Steiner, can give a hungry Nico Hulkenberg the points he needs in Formula 1.
Yeah.
Perfect. Done. Easy.
Done and dusted. But yeah, thank you very much for listening. And have a good race weekend. And we'll speak to you next week.
Enjoy. Cheers, everyone.